Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of The Wasted Years, the gaming and entertainment podcast that tries to make sense of your entire life that's used consuming media and entertainment products. We want it not to be a waste. We want to have something good to show for it, and that's what The Wasted Years is all about. Just kind of moving through the endless swath of cultural products a little bit here. I am very pleased to have a good friend of mine, Sean Proulx. He is the host of BigTime Gamecast. Hopefully I got that right. That's another gaming podcast. Sean, did I get that right? BigTime Gamecast?
Why, yes, you did.
Well, good, because I don't want to plug you wrongly. I'll at the end of the show, I'll make sure you get a spot to drop your Twitter, drop your cast again. Make sure people can check that out. We're just gonna shoot the shit about games, TV, films, what you've been up to. Okay, if that's cool with you, we're just gonna talk about this stuff.
Sure.
Okay. I didn't really brief Sean beforehand. I sent him a few little things here and there, but we're just gonna go for it. So, to start things off on The Wasted Years, what I would usually talk about, Sean, is I would usually talk about things that I have been playing in the video game world. So why don't you talk to me about, and we'll sort of just spin off each other, why don't you talk to me about something, things you've been playing, whether it's early impressions, whether it's long-term opinions on some video games. Just hit me with some stuff. What you got?
Oh my, this is a loaded question with the 600 game back catalog.
Well, exactly, right? We're both pushing the 600. We're over $6 billers, both of us. And that's not $6 bills. That's like $10,000. But go ahead.
I would say most recently, like we talked about on the podcast, I played Gears 4.
Yeah.
We'll just move away from that and talk about something else.
Well, just give the quick recap for the listeners that may not double dip. Just give me your quick thoughts on Gears 4, if you don't mind.
I believe I gave it a 7, and I said
7 out of 10. Yeah.
7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the story was mostly lackluster. They did nothing new to the Gears franchise.
Right.
Nothing really interested me until the very end of the game.
Okay.
But that being said, the final cutscene definitely got my jimmies rustled.
Right, and you were saying... Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say that that's basically because of my Gears of War love from the past.
Right, so you think sort of you're giving it an extra leg up when you are taking into account the rest of that series story-wise, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said in the other cast, the gameplay was fantastic.
Right.
The graphics are really good. It was a lot of fun, but there was nothing new there. It was just what year did it launch? 2017?
Gosh, 2017, yeah, I want to say. Yeah.
So it was basically 2017 version of Gears, and in my opinion, kind of a lesser of a story. So yeah, it was fun. It was a good time, but I don't think it was anything revolutionary.
Right, it didn't sort of set your Gears world on fire or anything like that. It was just more Gears, would you say?
Yeah, one might say that it did not grind my gears.
So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, right?
It definitely was not bad.
Okay.
No. It was just a few cogs short. Oh,
we on fire right now. We on fire today. This is because we already hit the treadmill of our like brotherhood on the first cast earlier today. So we're just now locked in. We're firing heat seekers out here. Okay, so Gears that clocked in at about how many hours would you say of your personal time on Gears 4?
Overall, I'd say somewhere between 6 and 10 hours.
6 to 10.
Like I said, I got stopped somewhere in the middle because I was playing it on Insane.
Right.
Much longer than it should have. I'm sure if I popped it on easy mode and steamrolled it like first day, probably 6 hours easily.
6 hours. Okay, so we're talking like COD length. I think you mentioned that in your pod, right? About a COD length campaign.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
COD length.
And do you feel like it overstayed its welcome even in that range, like gameplay or story-wise, except for that ending? Or would you say it was, you kind of enjoyed it the whole way through? Like, did it slog at all for you, or what?
I think it kind of, because there wasn't much of a story, and I'm somebody who likes stories, it kind of slogged through a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as Gears has always been, it just looks good, it feels good, and it's so much fun to play that it didn't really feel like a chore while I was playing it.
Right.
I was just like, I was surprised, like, oh crap, that's the ending. And secondly, like, I had no idea it was coming because I was not prepared for it.
Right.
And secondly, like, I don't know how to. I'm not even sure where I was going with that, but
That's okay, man. That's okay. I'm sort of throwing things at you quick. So
it's like I said, it's a Gears game. They do nothing new. It's fun to play through.
Right.
But I think it's the weaker of the stories of the series.
Okay, so you would actually
I enjoyed my time through it. I did enjoy my time through it. It kind of, I feel like it slogged through the story because there wasn't really much interest there.
Right.
But many can say that's kind of a Gears forte. Like, there has been a story in the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been a story.
Well, I think a rather emotional one at times too. I remember giving a damn about that story. Like Gears 1 and 2, I was like invested, you know.
We were definitely more invested in the Gears 1, 2, and
maybe
3
than the average folk. Would you say?
I wouldn't say more than the average folk, but I would say it was more interesting and it caught us. Okay. But I mean, when you talk Gears as a franchise, the first thing that comes up is not, wow, I love that gripping story.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I know that there's a huge history there. I know they have books. I know they have comics. I know there's nerds out there who know everything about it. I don't.
Yeah, they're going to eat, sleep, lambent.
Yeah. But everything that I've played, 1 through 3, had a decent, somewhat gripping story. And I felt like Gears 4 just kind of slogged through. It didn't really feel like it was going anywhere until, like I said, the ending scene kind of brought me back to Gears 1 to 3 feels.
Right. It sort of resurrected some long-held storylines there. I won't spoil it on this cast. You can go to Sean's BigTime Gamecast for deep details on that, but it kind of tries to tie it all together, would you say?
Yeah, I think if it is, because it's kind of vague at the same time. Right. I won't spoil anything, but it's kind of vague. But I do believe it kind of ties Gears 1 through 4 all together, which, other than it being a Gears game and having familiar characters appear, have cameo appearances, it didn't really feel necessarily like it was tied to the original games.
Right. So I still have to play I still have to play Gears 3 and 4, and so I'm looking at this like, after hearing you talk about it, I'm kind of looking at it like, okay, this is a perfunctory thing I have to do before Gears 5. Like, it's not something I'm necessarily going to be blown away by, but it's something I need to sort of tick off the boxes to stay relevant, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like, you know, it could be worse than that. It could be an absolute trash game, which it's definitely not. But it could have been more on its own, it sounds like, than it is. It kind of has to be given some life with the trilogy or with the whole saga as a whole, I should say. And I don't know. I have to get to that still.
You definitely should, because I do think the originals are great, and 4 was good or okay.
Yeah.
The multiplayer was awesome. I do think that this is Coalition's first game. It's their first Gears game.
That's right. I've forgotten that.
Other than the remake, obviously.
Right.
And they've said, I forget what his name is, the lead of the dev team there. But he basically said that Gears 4 was them playing it safe, and they really want to do more, but they had to prove to fans that they can do Gears right.
Right, that they could just do it, period, first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as how it played, how it looked, it's Gears.
Like, right. And that's through to the bone, basically, right?
Through to the bone, and they keep the same thing. Gears 5, I think, might surprise us. It seems...
Right.
Just the trailer, honestly, of the E3 trailer we saw, and the amount of different places she visits, the color palette also looks different.
Yeah, and that's nice to see, because Gears can have a way of being brown and gray, right?
Yeah, it does for sure, and so I'm excited to see where they go with it. We have to give them a chance. Like I said, it was an okay game. The multiplayer was great. It was Gears.
Definitely. We loved Gears. Yeah, we loved Gears.
I just feel like they did nothing to revolutionize or advance necessarily the storyline,
right,
or the franchise mechanically.
Yeah.
But they've went on record saying that they played it safe because they had to prove that they can do a Gears game.
Right.
So let's just hope they're not just bullshitting us, and
let's hope they take it to the next level for Gears 5, and Gears 5, as we've checked it out on the what was that, the beta, right? Was it a beta?
Tech test.
Tech test, yeah. Tech test looked nice, snappy, quick, looked good, played good. So a good sign. They have some interesting weapons, like there's like a melee mace, like it's just like a big ass club with spikes on it. I'm like, okay, let's fuck some kids up with this.
I didn't get to play with that.
No, neither did I.
Only in casual.
Yeah, it's only in casual. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, so Gears 4 took up a chunk of your time and a chunk of your mind space for sure. Anything else you got going on, video game wise?
Oh, so many. Honestly, I've been playing through Trials Rising. There's not much to say.
Oh, so you dropped back into Trials because that, like, you hit a lull with Trials, did you not? At one point, you stopped playing it. At one point.
Trials Fusion. I stopped playing mostly, but
right.
I'm a long-time fan since the original.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy they're kind of back to their roots, and it's a good game. I know you own it, and I know you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a little hard for me as a Crip kid, but I definitely do appreciate it. Now, do you think, just real quick, that that it sort of does Trials justice? Because I know a lot of people talked about Fusion in negative terms.
I think it definitely does. Yeah.
Okay.
I love what they did. I love what they did with Trials Rising. It feels as good as Trials ever has. It looks really good. It plays really good. My only little gripe maybe is that I haven't noticed in the single player, but when you're playing multiplayer, like 4 players, it seems like some maps that are highly decked out, that there's like almost like a screen tearing sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But that's just like a minor grip. As somebody who doesn't care too much about graphics and stuff like that, it sucks, but it's not ruining my experience.
Right.
My experience. because it plays fine. It plays smooth. Otherwise, it plays exactly how it should. And I mean, there's not much to say about Trials. You know, it's like a classic Elastomania, physics-based bike game that requires high levels of skill. You know,
right?
So,
sorry about
higher
the
levels.
phone there. My apologies. I should have hit it on D&D. Let me just get that on Do Not Disturb. Anything else while I set my phone to shut the hell up? Anything else you're playing that you want to tell my listeners about?
Final Fantasy 9.
You still on that? Yeah, you're still on that train?
Still on that.
Talk to me about it.
It's a fantastic game.
Now, how does it stack though? Like
stack how?
Like in the series? Yeah, from what you remember, of those series. Of that series.
It's much better than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 9, I think, is up there. It's one of my favorites. Okay. I don't think it tops Final Fantasy 7.
Well, yeah, I think that's a really that Final Fantasy 7 carries a lot of like cultural baggage, right? Like,
it's a tall order to
definitely
to pass it for a lot of people. But oddly enough, there's a lot of people who don't like Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, I almost think they're like Final Fantasy hipsters. You know what I mean? It's just, they pick a different one because everyone says 7 rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very possible.
It's possible, yeah.
But yeah, I'm playing it on my Xbox, so it's not backwards compatible, but it's been remastered. I think it was the PC version that was remastered.
Right.
And it's been ported to Xbox. I'm finally happy that all those Final Fantasy games are on Xbox. I love that. One of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, that was a low-key big deal a couple months back, I think. And I just had found out recently that FF8 was dropping, and I am one of those Final Fantasy hipsters that is like, FF8 is God. But I honestly, let's be real, I don't think FF8 is better than FF7. I don't think it's better, but I liked it more because it's set in a university. I can kind of relate to that as a former academic, right? So... but so that's jumping off finally to Xbox. I think it's this fall if I'm not crazy. So I'm hyped about that.
Yeah, I think it's October or November.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I'll be dropping 30 bones on that probably. Now, do you own FF7 on Xbox?
I do. Yes,
you do. Now, did you have a clash? Because I know my brother was like, like, do I get like? Because my bro dropped some fat stacks on the FF7 remake after those E3 trailers and after the release date went out, but that was only on PlayStation, right? At the time, you can only pre-order it on PlayStation. Now there's rumors about whether or not it is coming to Xbox. Of course, we hope it is. But let me circle back to my question, because I always fucking do this. But do you feel like replaying OG FF7 is losing merit because the remake's coming out? In your mind, at least, not overall, but just in your mind.
I wouldn't say it's losing merit because a classic is a classic and
Right.
will always be a classic.
Right.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, don't forget, is going to be a potentially 2 or 3-parter game.
Right. That's true.
So
it's like 3 whole discs, right? Like, it's not going to be together. It's going to be episodic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And what did they say? Did they give a release date of 2020 at E3? Did I see that?
I think so, yeah. I can check that real quick, but I do think you're right about that. Go ahead with what you're saying.
So, yeah, well, we have until 2020 to play Midgar, right? Basically, we have until 2020 to play Disc 1 of Final Fantasy VII.
And this is Disc 1 blown up into a whole game, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, this is a whole fucking RPG.
So they're saying, yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Right.
So they're saying.
Right.
It looks fantastic. I think when the full game launches and it's the whole experience, it will be hard to go back to the original. But don't forget the combat. While there seems like they're doing a really nice job of combining the new Final Fantasy action with the old turn-based kind of style, it seems like they're trying to make something modern and together here.
Right.
But it's still not the same. You know what I mean? It's not the same as that classic Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, and it's just not going to be, right? Like, it can't be that. Like, whether it's better or not, we'll see gameplay-wise. But just a quick little addendum now, because I'm kind of, like, laughing in my head as I think about this. I'm like, may as well ask them, what do you think about hearing their voices finally? Like, hearing Barrett and Cloud sort of banter with each other in that E3 trailer. You watched that thing, right? The E3 bit. They fought the Scorpion boss from like that red Scorpion or whatever the fuck that is, right?
I thought it was weird 10 or so years ago.
It's fucking weird.
When Advent Children released.
Right, Advent Children released, you're absolutely right. Like I almost think Barrett sounds completely different than what I would ever think he would sound like. But like, it leads me to wonder, like, the ways we as people, we sort of like, how do I want to say this without dragging this on forever? We as people, we tend to like invest entertainment icons with our own properties that we think they should have, right? Like, we imagine a character in a book to look a certain way. We imagine Barrett to sound a certain way when that info isn't given to us up front. Now that it wasn't given to us up front for, God, how old is Final Fantasy VII? 98? 97? 1997?
Something like that.
Yeah, so we're talking 20 years. 20 years later, they finally give a voice to it. It's like, it's going to be jarring, right? Like, it's going to be kind of wacky.
I definitely think it's wacky, but I mean, like I said, I saw Advent Children, it must have been like 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Advent Children came out. And that was kind of weird because it gave them voices you didn't necessarily expect.
Right.
But when it comes to remaking the game, I have to say, I don't want to be that guy who had to choose voice actor.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like, what a tall fucking order that shit is, right?
It's
God
way
damn.
too much pressure.
That's
way
so much pressure because you're dealing with like people encase their whole childhoods into this one video game. Like,
even remaking the game is like too much pressure. So.
Right. And I actually wonder how they're going to deal with the cursing of Barrett on the side note, because he had like, the classic at pound ampersand exclamation mark kind of censored swearing, right? Like in text, that's how it was in the OG. And it's like, that was kind of almost part of the charm. You're never really sure what the hell he was saying. But you just knew he was pissed off. Now, obviously, they can't represent that in voice. So, are we going to get a cussing Barrett, or are we going to get a clean Barrett? That's what I want to know.
I think we're going to get a in between the two.
Yeah, probably. They're not going to go deep and have him drop F-bombs, right?
I think we'll get like a grumbling Barrett, and you might even get like he's gonna mumble under his breath, and you'll catch a few words, and you understand it but don't understand it at the same time.
Right. Okay. I think that's fair, and I'm not sure how I'll feel about that, but I guess it remains to be seen. March 3rd, 2020 is the date on that for the PS4. Xbox remains to be dated. Hopefully it's day and date with PS4, but we don't know that, unfortunately. So Final Fantasy IX, you've been how many hours into that? Just to wrap that discussion up, how many hours so far, you think? Ballpark?
I believe I'm in about 50 or 60 hours. I'm also pretty sure I'm in like the final, necessarily the final, I'm not like at the final boss battle or anything, but I'm in like the final area.
Okay.
But I found that the guys were kind of hard, and I've always been
Like the
somebody who
enemies? Okay.
I've always been somebody who when I play a Final Fantasy game, I have to get to level 99 and get like the ultimate weapons and stuff.
You completionist. I know you as a completionist, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Not one bit.
So I started like I didn't start a second. Well, I copied the file and I have one in the new area, and then I went back to the other area because now I'm kind of in my free time. I will level up my characters and
Right.
try to push it.
Right. And so by nature of that playstyle, you're going to have inflated hour numbers, right?
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah. Anything interesting and this will be the last Final Fantasy question I ask you because I got a shit ton of shit I want to talk about. We're not necessarily going to talk about all of it, but just for the sake of moving on, anything interesting like the weapons, like Omega weapon or whatever they were called in Final Fantasy VII. Any bosses, like secret bosses like that in FF9 that you've found where it's like maybe they were not on the linear path?
I haven't found bosses necessarily, not that I know of anyway. But there are some like cool secret things. Like I know when you're on the world map and a fight starts, there's like a random chance that all of a sudden the music plays differently, and it's a creature that spawns or whatever. And if you're not paying attention or if your thing's muted, you'll just kill him.
Oh,
but
really?
What that is it's a side quest, and they ask for like an item. They'll be like, "Oh, feed me ore, please."
Okay.
And you give him the ore, and he gives you tons of XP and like something special.
Huh.
And there's like 10 or so of these instances that just kind of randomly happen that you got to progress through. Like you have to complete one to have the next one spawn.
Interesting. Okay.
Like I said, it's entirely random though. I'm not near the end, but I think when you get to the end of it, you unlock I think there's like a secret area or something you can get to, and you get some sort. I think that's how you get one.
Based on your interaction with these things, then based on your interaction with okay, that's interesting. I just wanted to ask because I always remember that from Final Fantasy being an interesting Final Fantasy VII concept. Like you could kill these bosses, or you could interact with these bosses, but you didn't have to. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting. It's almost like Dark Soulsian in a way.
Yeah, I haven't noticed. Like I said, I haven't noticed anything necessarily non-linear about it. Like in the sense of, like in Final Fantasy VII, you don't have to beat the ultimate weapon. I don't think to finish the game.
No,
it's like there are those optional bosses. I haven't noticed it in this game, but I haven't really been looking at a guide or anything. I'm just kind of going through it.
Just going through it like a first time play, kind of like it's not your first time, I don't think, but you're playing it that way.
And there. Yeah, it seems like it might be more focused in the sense that there isn't that, but they do have a lot of hidden things, like with the Chocobo Hot and Cold, like treasure hunts. Right. Like I said, there's creatures. That's a side quest.
Okay.
There's another guy called Ragtime.
I think you were telling me about that. You're like you would like this guy. I think you were saying.
And he like pops up and he's like a quiz master, and you got to answer the questions right.
That's cool.
Stuff like that. It's just completely random too how that happens. And
cool.
He also gives you something if you answer the questions correctly.
Awesome. That sounds fun. I own the game actually, but I have not fired it up yet, which is like par for the course with me.
But say big surprise.
Yeah, but the podcast actually is helping me do that. So like helping me get through some of these things. So, thanks, man. Thanks for that. I will just mention a few games that I've been checking out. One of them is Planetfall. We talked about that on your podcast. Planetfall very quickly is a 4X like civilization type game, but it has the added interesting factor of being like an XCOM combat system. So you're moving into cover, you're putting Overwatch, you're throwing grenades, you're doing this and that. I'm only through the tutorial, so I don't want to like overextend my knowledge on it, but it's an Xbox 4X game. Like, stop me if you have heard that before, because I could probably tell you haven't, right? Outside of, like, Civilization Revolution on 360. Like, that's what we're talking about here. Like, XCOM's on there, yeah, but XCOM isn't a 4X. XCOM is a tactical strategy with an overlayer of, like, the ship construction, right? Mm-hmm. So very, very, very cool to see that. One thing I do want to say to the listeners of the Wasted Years is, like, holy damn, the control scheme's actually good. Unlike They Are Billions, And I actually never mentioned They Are Billions. I talked to you guys on WhatsApp saying, hey, this cool zombie RTS game, I'm going to buy it on Xbox, right? I was hyped. I was excited. And like the idea behind that game is very popular on PC. The idea is like you just have to build a colony that survives waves of zombies at a given point in time, and if you can't do that in an RTS setting, then you lose. That's just simple as that. But problem with There Are Billions is on console it's literally unplayable. It's literally like you need a mouse and a keyboard. You can have one, but it doesn't say you need one. And then when you try with controller, it's like what is even happening here? So I just want to add the tidbit that was the first game I've ever refunded digitally through Xbox was They Are Billions. So I'm very leery about the control scheme on an obviously PC-based strategy game, right? Like we know Halo Wars can do it, right? We know Halo Wars can do it, but that was designed to do it, right? On console.
Yeah, it was built from the ground up for console, that game.
Exactly. So things like They Are Billions definitely not built for console, and it showed. Planetfall isn't built for console, but looks like they did a good job with it. I'll say more about the game as I dig more into it. It looks like it's going to be in my rotation for a while. It looks pretty dang cool, and
it definitely looks really cool. I know it's holding an 87 on the Xbox Metacritic.
Yeah,
and pretty high.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably going to buy it next week because
right.
I also want to give it a try.
Maybe we can try the multiplayer. There is a achievement, for what it's worth. We're both achievement hunters. There's an achievement, win a multiplayer match. I don't know how long these matches are. But or if you can invite friends or anything. I know literally zero about the infrastructure of that. But we can check that out, get back to our listeners about that maybe. So that's Planetfall 4X plus XCOM on an Xbox. Sounds good. That's a lot of X's in one sentence, actually. 4X, XCOM on Xbox. Let's go.
Many X's, many 4X's.
That might be 3 X's. That might be triple X. I might not go here. I might actually have to not go here.
Trying to become a mature podcaster?
Apparently I just alienate all the kids, but I've already dropped like 6 F-bombs, so I guess that's happening anyways. What else do I have that I want to talk about? So, Fire Emblem, I've been playing a bit of that, if you don't mind me saying. Fire Emblem. Really good game. Really interesting game. All voiced over. Everything is very, very cool that way. Characters really pop. They really come alive. They really ask you to make difficult decisions. But I will say I have a concern about the game. The concern is like the overall structure. So, the overall structure is like you're a professor in a school of combat. And you choose which house, which dorm, if you want. Like, basically, think about it that way, I guess. Which house, which dorm you want to lead as their professor. And then that's your pool of units you can draw from. Then you can recruit other students beyond that initial pool and so on. But the structure as it happens naturally itself is like, it's a calendar. So you flip through a calendar and there's things to do on a given day. So it'll be like if there's if there's a quest mission, it'll be like, you know, on March 21st, it's time for the quest battle, or like it'll be like the days before. It'll be like, okay, you can choose what you want to do. Do you want to have a seminar where you teach your kids? And actually, side note, you teach your own students. That's how you get them XP and level them up outside of battle, is you instruct them on how to do shit. So I think that's kind of interesting because you're actually a freaking professor, and that's kind of cool. But there's some other shit where it's like, oh, you can choose to explore the university and do some side quests. You can choose to, like, instruct your students, like I said. You can choose to do a non-story battle, things like that. And it's kind of intimidating because multiple times the game has told me, hey, make sure you manage your time. Make sure you plan ahead. Make sure you know that when the big battles are going to come and what time you have in between to prepare for that shit. And I'm like, kind of like, that kind of makes me pucker my cheeks a bit. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, do I want to go forward right now? Because as you know, I play Switch mostly in bed. Otherwise, I'm on Xbox, right? So I'm in bed playing Switch at like 2 a.m., do I even want to like make a life-altering decision in Fire Emblem? So a little concerned there on on like how punishing the structure can be, the kind of no area to return feeling you get if you choose the wrong thing on a given day. You know what I mean? And suddenly you're fucked for the rest of the month or something, you know?
It sounds like an awesome game, and I only dream of the Switch because I don't currently own one. But Switch Lite...
Yeah, that's going to change, right? You're going to buy a Switch Lite, yeah. A couple quick thoughts on that if you have. Anything on the Switch Lite you want to... what makes you want to get one, you know? Or maybe not.
For all those non-believers who are like, ugh, it's not a Switch.
Right. We have a good friend of ours who says it's not a Switch because it can't switch, right? Like, very literally believes that, right?
Yeah. It's the Nintendo Switch, just portable, in my opinion. There's going to be a few select games not available on it, right? But it's a very small number. The battery's going to last longer. There's tons of pros and there's cons too.
Right. And you never want to hook it to your TV anyways, right? That's what
if I was going to buy a Switch to begin with, once in a while it might have been hooked up to my TV, but Switch and the PS4 would never replace my Xbox for me.
Right.
Having them plugged in is almost like a waste, whereas the Switch, because it's portable, it's not a waste because I play other games, but the Switch, because it's portable, I would take with me like camping and to work on my break.
Exactly.
It would probably get more playtime than other consoles.
Right. And that's where that's where it gets playtime for me too, like in my bed or when I'm dead in a BR and waiting for you guys to die. You know what I mean? Then I'll rip like 5 minutes of a Switch game. Like, it has a unique place in my gaming life right now, and I very rarely hook it up to a TV. So, I mean, there you go. There's proof positive that mode of handling the Switch is going to work for you because it works for me. So,
for sure. And I mean, Nintendo's not stupid, right? I mean, they collect data to see who plays on a TV and who goes portable, right? They have all this information.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure the amount of portability of the Switch is probably greater than the TV plane.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, again, like 90-10. We're talking about 90% portable use, 10% anchored TV use. So, I mean, it is what it is. Speaking of the Switch, actually, I wanted to mention something came out of the fucking blue and kind of is, to me, like a watershed moment in a weird kind of way. I'll explain what I mean. So, the other day I saw that released in the recent releases section of the Switch eShop was DC Universe Online free to play on the Switch. So a freaking MMO on the Switch. And this just came out of nowhere. Like, I don't even know if this game is good. I don't know what the status of the game is. But I downloaded it and I fired it up and I made a villain and I liked my villain and I played the game. And I stabbed some people, and it was not horrible. And then I went to bed. So I don't know much more about it, but it's like, dude, an MMO on the Switch? What?
Isn't DC Universe Online like an older MMO?
I think let's check the release date on that. I think it's at least 5 years old, man. Really, to be honest. I'll just pull that up, but like a mobile MMO is like kind of a mind bender to me. I'm like, wait, what? You know, it's that's what I think is like the watershed moment about it, kind of where it's like, oh, we can now take an MMO around with us if you have the internet for it, right?
Yeah. Well, DC Universe Online, I wouldn't say is like the number one MMO.
No, certainly not.
It is a cool concept.
Yeah, it's
definitely a cool concept.
Yep. Yeah. So 2011 on that game, by the way, DC Universe 2011. Yes. So, holy shit, that is an old fucking video game. Holy crap!
What's its Metacritic score?
Let's check that out. I should have had this stuff to hand, I guess. My bad.
44.
What's that? Sorry.
44. No, I don't know. I was
just... Yeah, let's check.
I can look it up.
So it's 75 on 72 on PC, 75 on PlayStation 4, unrated for the Switch because it just came out. 67 on PS3. So it's a cross-gen title even. My goodness, that's not surprising given the 8 years, but
that's why it runs so smooth on the Switch.
I guess so. Yeah, it's like, hey, MMO on the Switch. In fact, there's an article from Forbes magazine published 3 days ago, saying why DC Universe Online is the perfect MMO for the Switch. I'm like, bruh, this thing's the only MMO. It's the only MMO on the Switch, so I checked it out. And I might go back. So I just want to add quickly that you can choose a hero or villain, and then you get like mentored by a hero or a villain from the pantheon of DC. So could be Batman, could be Joker, could be Lex Luthor, could be Superman, you know, stuff like that.
You get to choose, or it's kind of like random?
Yeah, you get to choose based on what origin you choose. So I made a zombie knight kind of theme guy called the Eternal Errant. That's his villain name. He just
That's how cool better be here.
I couldn't choose that, so I chose here's the deal. So if you don't own any of the expansion packs and you're a free-to-play player of DC Universe, it appears that you get a limited selection of origins and powers. So I couldn't choose the powers that best fit my vision of this zombie knight villain. So I had to kind of settle. So when I settled for like a magic origin, which gave me the mentor Circe, who I have no idea who that is, but she's apparently a villainous mage or something. I don't know. But there is Joker.
Game of Thrones reference?
Yeah, like, maybe. But yeah, there is the Joker, who he's the gadget mentor, versus Batman is the gadget mentor on the good side, and stuff like that. Superman's the brawler, or whatever you want to say, right? And then you could choose your like movement style. So do you want to fly? Do you want to be an acrobat? Do you know, so on and so on. And then you choose your weapon style like out of a number of options. And unfortunately, a lot of them are locked behind the expansions. So like, I wanted to be like a gun user, let's say like Deadpool, gotta have an expansion. So I settled for a single hand weapon, and that's why I went with the knight. So he's gonna have like a sword and a shield, but be a supervillain. Like, that's kind of what I want to go for. But like, I'm not able to achieve that yet. You know what I mean? So because I don't have all the like, basically this is like, I feel like I'm playing The Sims here. I can't have a dog house until I buy Sims Dog Houses expansion pack. You know. So it's only a dream for now. The zombie knight's a dream for now, but I don't know. Maybe worth checking out. I might even look that up on Xbox and see if that's still kicking around on Xbox, just to see the difference, see the achievements, because I'm a whore like that. But
I want to play Star Trek Online.
That's on Xbox still, right? I can't believe that game was still going, actually.
I never played it. I don't know what it reviewed, but
it reviewed horribly on launch. But
when I saw it, I just wanted to be like, man, you gotta like sit on the bridge of the Enterprise and engage.
Just fucking rip some phasers into kids on away missions. Like, let's go here. Yeah. Anyway, that was kind of longer than I thought I was gonna talk about DC Universe. There's something I wanted to pick your brain about, if you don't mind. So you've been back on Apex Legends as like the premier BR that you're playing, or not even BR, but like one of the main multiplayer shooters you're playing right now, right? But you didn't always, you kind of bounced off of it at first. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you want to talk about the return just a little bit, bouncing off that, why that happened, you know, or the thoughts you have about Apex, whatever you got, as somebody who left and came back?
I hated the game, and now I love the game. No, I actually never hated it. I obviously downloaded it. I don't think I downloaded it day one. I think I downloaded it like in the first week it came out.
Yeah.
And I played it, and I was probably at the time, I feel like we were probably playing a lot of Blackout.
Yes, definitely.
I really liked Blackout at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, Apex, there was something, I was like, I said it was really cool. I'm like, Apex is really cool. It's like playing Overwatch BR kind of.
Yeah, you did say that, and I like that comparison.
And I'm like, I really like the movement. This is a lot of fun. But I don't really know the guns, and it seems like the shields and stuff. The shields still piss me off to this day. But
oh yeah, the knockdown shields even more almost. To be honest,
yeah.
It's like, dude, just die already.
But I didn't dislike the game. But I mean, we were playing other games instead. We ended up we played Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah,
a shit ton. Blackout faded off the map, and I don't know. I don't know where you guys were talking about the battle pass many months, if not like a year. I don't even know. Has it been out a year yet even?
Apex? Oh, I don't think so. No.
But it's probably like a good 4 or 5 months
probably
later.
Like 7 months maybe, but
maybe. Either way, 4 or 5 months later, I was like, all right, I'm going to pick it up and play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was enjoying it. And then I've been playing it a lot lately.
Yeah, a ton lately.
I went from like I went from like level 13 to I'm like level 40 something.
Right, and you've been requesting it in our gaming group, like Apex, Apex. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
I've been really enjoying it. That's my favorite BR currently.
Yeah, me too.
And I've gotten the hang of it more than I did then. It probably helps that I haven't been playing Rainbow Six Siege to take away from it, but I'm kind of. But I don't know. Like I said, I never disliked the game, and I don't know. I came back to it. Something clicked. I was playing with you in Elusive Man, and something clicked. I've been enjoying it, and I've just kind of grown more fond of it. So fond that I bought the Battle Pass.
You did, right? I thought you had done that. Yeah.
It's I don't know if there's like a specific reason why I like it more now than I did then. Like I said, I didn't dislike it at the time, but I just don't remember what I was playing at that time.
Right. Maybe it's just a matter of timing, right? Potentially.
Probably Siege. Maybe I was like 700 hours deep into Monster Hunter, and I just wasn't interested in playing that BR.
Oh, fuck Monster Hunter, yeah. Jesus. Oh, fuck. That actually piques my mind on that. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, I was probably playing the other games at the time.
Yeah.
And I was probably still playing Blackout, and I was probably big on Blackout, and I was like, I don't know, I'd rather just play Blackout.
Like, why invest in a new BR? Like, learn all the things. Like, Blackout's good enough. Actually, that segues perfectly to what I have listed in my notes. So, yesterday, we played a bit of Blackout, right? And you fucking bailed. You bailed, right? Because you were tired of shit.
I didn't have a good time at all.
No,
exactly. I also didn't have a good time at all.
So I literally have in my notes, Apex versus Blackout. Sean left early. Let's talk about it. So like, I didn't know if there was anything to it. I thought you were actually going to be like, oh, just tired, don't even read into this like you always do. But if you have a thought about why you had such a shit time, now's the time. I'm very interested to hear what happened.
I don't know. I haven't played in so long, but it just felt so slow.
Huh.
Picking up items is clunky as hell in comparison to Apex.
Yeah. Like attaching shit too is like not the greatest.
Yeah. It's not intuitive at all. And honestly, after playing so much Apex and not playing any Call of Duty, since a long time now, it felt like I was playing PUBG for the first time.
Oh, that's fighting words, man. That's like that's burials right there.
Like obviously, when I played Blackout, I'm like, man, this is way better than. When I played Blackout the first time, I'm like, this is so much better than PUBG.
Oh, it blew PUBG out of the way.
Yeah, and I loved it, and like I put a lot of time into it. And obviously, the more you play it, the more used to it you get.
Right.
Last night I was tired. Yes, I was tired. I was up at 4 a.m. Had to work, But I don't know. I just wasn't having.
It
that much fun.
It just didn't click with you, eh? Like I could sense that. Yeah.
After playing Apex, like it just felt literally. It felt super slow, super clunky.
Mm-hmm.
And Apex does those things really well. I think.
Right, so. And like the fact that you can't even mark something with RB, it like really fucks with my mind actually now.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah, because you have to
also
use
the fact.
Go ahead.
Also,
please.
the fact that it can't bash my own teammates. So that
yeah, I forgot you bashed me in the truck. Oh god, I was down to like 30 HP. We're like running for our lives from the circle, and I looked at you and you're just like. Hit the air, and then and I'm just down. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck are you doing? God.
Yeah, it was hilarious, but I felt bad at the same time.
Like whatever. In the end, it's like the overall sense to it's like it makes me wonder like the BR genre has taken the gaming world by such a like clutching, by such a firm grip is what I want to say. But it seems to me that when I look at what my friends play, how my friends play, and how they move about the genre, it seems to me that it's like, dude, you can probably only really have one BR on the go at a time. At least anecdotally, I feel that way. I feel like it's not easy to move between them. Or it's not even fun to move between them. I know a lot of people do. Dr. Disrespect, he moves between all of them. But I almost feel like it's like you pick your BR and you stay in your lane until you get tired of it, then you drop it for a couple months or something, Is there any validity to that?
I think there is validity because I know people like Derek and Salt, they can switch between COD and Apex like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
But as somebody who played tons of Halo, when you put that much dedication and time into a game competitively and you want to win, you're not just playing for shits and giggles.
Right.
I don't think there is space to be going back and forth.
between all
No,
this different shit. Yeah.
yeah, like Dr. Disrespect makes tons of money off streaming, and that's what he does. I
Right.
don't think he does anything else. I mean, other than being, I think he's a father.
Yeah, he's
husband.
a father. Yeah, but yeah, his income is by and large seemingly related to or
Exactly.
stemming from the Twitch.
So if I was making tons of money to stream every day, then of course I could play different games and attract different crowds.
Right.
But I have such limited precious time,
especially as a dad. Yeah.
That I don't have space to play every BR game, and I see no reason. Like after Call of Duty launched, I'm like, I'm never going back to PUBG, and I won't go back
because they had done it better, right? It's done better.
That's right. And Apex launched, and I did go back to Call of Duty, but Apex is something different. It is a VR, but it's totally different. It plays incredibly different,
right?
And now I'm used to Apex. Like I've gotten used to Apex. Like I said, I stopped. Like I wouldn't be able to play Rainbow Six Siege competitively and Halo Infinite competitively and Gears competitively. It doesn't work that way. Like sometimes we'll hop onto Gears for a night of fun or something like that, but then evidently we'll go back and play Siege for like a month straight.
Right, but so it's not like going ham on Gears. Like you can't possibly go ham on Gears and Siege, right?
That's right. You more so just dabble here and there for the fun of it, or oh, my buddies are gonna go play that, I'll hop in there.
Right.
But to actually dedicate my time into like Blackout, I'm not interested. PUBG, I won't ever go back to.
Right.
Apex, like I said, I don't know the full reason why, but I'm just enjoying it immensely right now.
Right. So you're ready to say? Are you ready to say that Blackout only will ever be for you just a fuck it, let's play like 1 or 2 matches kind of deal? Are you there with Blackout where Apex has taken its spot, the spot that it took from PUBG?
Apex took that spot for sure, and cool. I don't even think I want to go play 1 or 2 games of Blackout.
Oh wow, okay, I love it. Hot take, I love it.
and as somebody who played Modern Warfare 2, I know there was no Blackout, but like multiplayer, I was 10th prestige, put in 22 or 23 days on my account there.
Right.
This is before you knew me.
Right. Yeah.
But I played tons, and even the regular multiplayer in Blackout, Black Ops 4.
Yeah, you were not a fan of that, right? Yeah, 4.
Black Ops 4. Yeah. The gameplay was fine. I don't know. It was just the I really find the maps are terrible. There wasn't a single good map in the game, in my opinion.
Right. That was your usual frame. Like, I'll play this, but the maps suck.
Yeah, I was listening to somebody else the other day, a podcaster or something, and they mentioned how the maps in Blops 4 sucked, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not the only one? I'm not the only one who got all up on Call of Duty?
Yeah. Well, evidently you're not the only one on the BR front, too, because for whatever it's worth anecdotally, our friends are telling me, hey, look, Blackout's dead on PC. It ain't dead on console, but it's dead on PC, so you're not the only one who's like, I don't know about this thing anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting hot take. That's what I love right there. That's what I want this podcast to be right there. Is like, let's talk about the experience with the cultural product, in this case, video games, and what the fuck is going on, right? I love that shit. Thank you, man.
Nothing's going on.
Thank you. Good shit there for the listeners to take on. One last thing I want to... Well, not one... fuck, man. I have so many notes. God, this is not going to be the last thing. I will skip some shit save it for another episode because it's not time-based. You know, it's not time sensitive, but I do want to pick your brain also. What is the game right now that you go to as a gamer that... Okay, let me set this up by saying what I would do instead. So it probably makes more sense. So for me right now, the Weekend League on Madden is live. So what the Weekend League is you get 25 games of online to play other opponents based on like your ultimate team, so your team of cards that you build. So you take that team for 25 games and play other people. The better you do, the more wins you have, the more rewards you'll get next week. So for me, I've been kind of on and off like depressive mode. Like sometimes I don't want to talk to human beings and shit. But for me, I find that like with Madden Weekend League, I throw on some rap, like no, not kidding. I threw on Drake Scorpion in the background, muted the game, and just ripped Weekend League. And by the end of like the game, when I'm smoking 2 kids and I'm winning 2 matches in a row, I feel like my swag is back. Like I feel better about myself. I'm like, let's fucking do this. Let's go. What is your swag back game? Like, what is the game you play where it's just like you're maybe not feeling yourself? You're gonna play a game, and that you know this game's gonna get you in the jimmies. You know it's gonna get you going. Could be single player, could be multiplayer, could be anything. What is the game Sean uses as like a pick me up
Oh God, this is this currently. I'm gonna say that there might not be one.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Shocker. I know.
Well,
It
because
really depends on
you're a
what
good mood kind of guy in general, I think, though. Right.
Yeah, I am a good mood guy in general, and it's I don't know. Like honestly, Apex, even when I'm losing, I'm having a good time. So
Oh, okay.
maybe that
Interesting. Even in the loss, you think?
even in the losses, yeah, I'm still having a great time.
That's not the case in Siege, though, is it?
That's not the case in Siege. No, Siege is after losing 2 games, it's like rage inducing, and I'm like, man,
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to go murder somebody.
Yeah, Siege is like my anti-swagger these days. I'm like, oh god. Okay, that's actually an interesting point. I'm sorry to hit you over like without telling you I'm going to ask you about a swag game or like a get hyped game, but like that in itself was interesting commentary, I think.
I like I said, as somebody who has a big back catalog, I can play just about anything. And right now, I'm thinking like, oh man, I have like the Amnesia collection. I really want to play that. So there's a lot of games.
Oh fuck, you gotta stream that. You gotta stream that.
Of course.
Yo, listeners, hold the fucking phone here. My jimmies are rustled, and if you don't know what that means, something we say, it means you're hyped, you're ready to go, you're excited about this. My jimmies are rustled. Whenever Sean plays like a horror game on Mixer, you can catch him there. TSG BigTime, I believe, is your Mixer username.
TSG _ BigTime.
Underscore BigTime. Thank you very much. TSG _ BigTime. Hit this dude up. One of the most memorable things I have ever watched would be like a Resident Evil 7 stream from him. I can only imagine what deliciousness awaits in Amnesia Collection. Like, I might be aroused.
But yeah, for me playing the back catalog games and ones that I haven't played, that's like my excitement. Like, oh man, I really want to load up Amnesia and play this. I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it. I'm a very sporadic person. I'm a sporadic person in real life. I talk about things. The same thing with my video games. I don't have like one game that's like, this is the game I have to play.
Right.
There are games that I've put like 700 hours into, like Monster Hunter, for example, that for a long time was my feel-good game. It's like, oh man, I'm tired of losing in Siege. I'm just gonna go kill some monsters and
shut it down and shut down the socializing and just have like a good adventure time.
But where I'm at and with the games that I have, it's like just about. I have probably 100 games.
Right.
That could be my feel-good game as long as I'm off doing my own thing, streaming that shit and just having a good time.
Right. Okay. And streaming for you is a big part of that feel-good process, I think, for you, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. I enjoy sharing it. I definitely enjoy streaming and sharing it. I don't always interact with everyone as much as I should because I probably fall asleep like the old man that I am.
Well, and it's taxing to do that sometimes too, right?
It is taxing, yes. So that's why I've been working on all that to make sure that if I'm going to stream, I have to stay awake. I'm not just streaming to pass out. Because if I ever one day I do have like thousands of followers, you can't just pass out on stream.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
Like, I mean, that's been done. That's resident sleeper if you want to look up the memes. But definitely you don't want to, I don't think, do that. But I do know, I do believe that you have been sort of like solidifying your brand, solidifying the ways to contact you, to get after it with you. And I really like seeing that. We got, like, you got the pod, you got the Mixer's been going for a long time. You got the Twitter, you got everything right now under BigTime, right? TSU BigTime.
Or some variation of, because websites
BigTime
are...
TSG, right? That's another one. Oh, cool. I would love to dip over to the more visual media and ask you any films, any TV shows you've been watching, anything you want to say about one or two of those. Anything you got on the plate, anything you just finished, anything anything at all.
I would say there's 3 things I can talk about here, and one of them is incredibly embarrassing.
Okay. Okay. Now, do you want to lead with embarrassing, or do you want to leave embarrassing off the table?
We'll go with the one that people will think is embarrassing.
Okay.
But is actually not.
Okay.
I went to go see The Lion King in theaters.
Okay, the live action, right?
Yeah, live action, the new Lion King, the 2019.
Hit me with it, man.
It was fantastic. It was. It looked beautiful. It was the original Lion King. Different music.
Different music.
It's the same music, but they re-recorded everything, and it's different artists. And you have the Childish Gambino plays Simba.
Okay.
And so therefore, what's the song? Can You Feel the Love Tonight is him and Beyonce, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They're singing it. So it's different takes on the classic songs.
Right.
But Seth Rogen is Pumbaa.
Pumbaa the warthog, yeah.
So anyway, scene for scene, it was the original Lion King.
Really? It's that close? It's like a twin?
It's to me, it's pretty much. I mean, I'd have to watch the original one back, but it feels pretty much like a twin.
Okay.
I don't think they added any story. They didn't add weird backstories or some weird. We didn't do this. There's like it feels like it was really the original,
right?
But in CGI, I really liked it.
Interesting.
Really liked it.
Okay. Now, what makes you think people would think that's embarrassing just because it's from the childhood? Like, it's directed to childhood?
Because a 31-year-old goes to the movies at 10 o'clock in the afternoon with...
Well, hell, man. You got
without his baby.
Oh, without the baby, right? Okay, now we found the X on the treasure map here. Now we know what maybe is the interesting little tidbit. I thought you brought the wee one, but she's too young for that, isn't she? Right now,
4 months, I think. Is
a little bit much there.
She probably wouldn't enjoy it, and
right.
If she was crying or upset, it would ruin the movie for others.
Right. It would almost be an irrelevant experience for her to take in, right, at this point. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Now you got a couple others? What else you got?
I really hate shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette.
Oh, are you going to talk about Love Island right now?
Yes.
Dude, okay. I've seen previews for this fucking show. And, okay, I am like a romancy, like, I am a softie, okay? You know that. Like, I am all about the romance, the sex, like, let's go. Right? Like, I support everybody, let's do it. I see this show, and I hate The Bachelor, too. I've never watched it. But something about Love Island makes me want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. Have you watched it, Sean?
I have watched every
Oh my god! Talk to me.
For the finale.
Talk to me.
Talk
to me.
I don't know. It's a good show. I don't want to say it's a good show. It was an interesting show.
Okay.
I mean, it's got your reality drama crap as you would expect.
Yeah. Now
it's good-looking guys, good-looking girls.
Yep.
Hooking up.
Now,
probably boning tons, but pretending like they're not boning because they're not allowed to say it.
Right. Yeah. Now, here's my question: what is the premise? Like, how do you get kicked out? How do you win?
It's actually kind of really interesting. Well, I didn't see the finale yet, but I think you win by getting voted by America.
Okay.
By voted as the top couple.
Okay.
But you start the show, if I remember correctly, it was 6 boys, 6 girls.
Okay.
It was like 6 girls. They introduced the 6 girls, and then one at a time, a guy came up from the beach, and the girls had to step forward if they were interested. And then
is this purely on aesthetics at this point?
They haven't met these guys. They know nothing about
they know nothing about their personality. Gotcha.
Nothing about them. They go by the looks, what they think, or whatever. That's all they know.
Okay.
And then girls step forward if they're interested, and then the guy gets to choose who he wants to couple with.
Oh, really?
So.
And they go on a date, or do they lock in for the whole stay?
Not at the start. Then they get considered a couple, and then as a couple, they're living in a village. And as a couple, they actually have to share a bed together. So strangers, they share a bed. But the bedroom is like a giant bedroom with like 50 beds or whatever.
Okay.
And you have to stay in the same bed as the person you're coupled with.
Right.
So, and then they do things like throughout the show, like they'll introduce 2 new girls.
Okay.
And they'll introduce 2 new girls because I think what they did is there was 6 girls and there was like 6 and 6.
Right.
Okay. So everyone's coupled up. 2 new girls come. And then these girls.
Okay. Go. Please proceed. Proceed. Yeah. Professionalism. Proceed. Teen podcast rated teen.
Two new girls come and they work their way around, to try and meet people. And then if they find somebody interesting, they're making a connection, right? And then at the end of the night, they'll have what they call a recoupling.
Okay.
And this time it'll be the girls who get to choose. So girls who are currently in a couple can choose a completely different guy.
Oh, shit.
And then what happens is the one guy or the 2 guys who are single get dropped from the island.
Really?
And then the next day it'll be 2 new guys get to the island. And then one day there was 4 guys and 4 girls who joined the island. And they all coupled up. And I think one couple went home. until finally you get down. Like they do like games and stuff,
right? Challenges, kind of Survivor type shit, or what?
Yeah, just for fun. You like win like a date, or you win something like that.
This sounds like watchable. Fun. This sounds watchable to me.
It was. I really enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
Huh.
And like I said, I'm embarrassed to say that, but I really quite enjoyed it, and it was funny. There was the drama in there, and I didn't see the finale yet, but it came down to, I think, in the last show you have 4 couples, and then it comes down to America gets to vote,
deciding on which they prefer, whatever.
Yeah, and in the end, I mean, or it was 3 couples, maybe? No, it was 4 couples for sure. And I mean, I haven't seen the finale and I haven't read who won, but I have an idea. It's either I'll just drop some names. It's either Zach and Elizabeth for sure, or Alexandra and Dylan. Are also super cute. Like to me, like these are 2. Elizabeth and Zach were coupled from the start.
Okay, so they got the long-term run they're having.
They never recoupled, and they actually were the only ones who, like, on the show, he like asked her out, like, "Will you be my girlfriend?"
Really?
Later on, so it was really cute. They had, so I think they were like America's favorite, but they were also like America's. They also were voted as the most boring.
Really? Because they're just like a basic ass, real ass relationship or something at the end.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Then you had Dylan came later on, and like Alexandra was one of the original girls.
Mm-hmm.
And she was with 1 or 2 other guys, and then Dylan, this new guy, came on, and they were together from that point on, and they were also pretty strong for each other.
Okay. Cool.
So,
cool.
It was a fun show.
Do you now?
I enjoyed it.
Now, when I used to study women's studies, we actually talked about like The Bachelor and shit like that, and like how they basically they don't rig the game, but they set the pieces, right? So it's like this girl will always be the bitch character, like that's what she's being paid to be, like under the hood. Now, do you have any sense that I don't know that that's true. That's just like something we talked about in class, but do you ever get a sense that there is like, the devoted bitch character in this show, or the sweet next door girl in this show? Like, are they archetypal personalities like that you can point to, or do they seem more complex?
No, I wouldn't say they seem complex. They're definitely your typical archetypes.
Okay.
Like Elizabeth was a very like kind, sweet girl next door. Everyone wants to be her friend, kind of thing.
Right? She's like a southern accent or something. I'm just guessing.
No southern accent.
Dang.
But, Then you had Kiara, who came in. I think she was the first girl to join, not of the OG, and her and one guy like hit it off really hard. And then out of nowhere, a new guy came on and she dropped that guy, and he actually got sent home. And then she started flirting with one of the girls who came on. Ooh. One of the later girls came on the show. Shit. There was like a lesbian thing going on.
Okay. I was going to ask about that actually.
And then like this girl, the new girl, and one of the original guys actually really had a big connection, and they started going together.
Okay.
But then she was like, "Oh, I've had a crush on you since the start." And then at the end of the wall, she went full circle and her ass got sent home.
Ooh.
And she went to go date with the guy she was originally with.
Oh, really? She like doubled back in real life.
Yeah, exactly. So At least she was like a kind of bitchy throughout the show.
Okay.
And weird, like she kind of seemed like the shit disturber, I would say.
Right. Like okay. That makes sense.
And but whether or not, like, I don't know if I don't think they like pay them for this.
Right. Like you don't know if you agree with that sentiment. I don't know that I do either, but it's out there.
I think what they do, Trish auditioned for Chopped Canada.
Okay. That's a chef show.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a chef show, and she made it to the 2nd or 3rd round of the auditions.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Because it starts with you send in a portfolio with a pic and whatnot.
Trish is Sean's wife, by the way, to the listeners.
Call you, yeah, and then they call you and they talk to you. They do like a phone interview, and then you go like face-to-face interview is the 3rd step of the process.
Right.
So Trish went, and they look for a certain type of people, right? You don't have to act necessarily, but they're looking for certain types. They're looking to fill those archetypes,
right?
That you want, right? But like it's not like they're paying an actor.
Okay, but they're selectively choosing.
They're selectively choosing
Gotcha.
Beautiful people with certain quirks about them.
Gotcha, you know what I mean? To make a compelling show. Like they need a compelling roster of characters.
Yeah, because they were egging Trish on. They were like, so is it hard for you in the kitchen to be a woman?
Really?
And she's like, no, not really. I'm the boss, and I do it better than everyone.
Right. So just they all
Okay.
like
But you
follow
don't
the
find it
lead.
stressful a day-to-day basis. Like they're like egging you on
Hmm.
to be that kind of
To
archetype.
see
Like,
what kind of character they can make
you to be that girl who's like, I never had any respect in the kitchen. I came on this show to show everyone girl power. And all the boys
right,
gonna get
because that'll
feminism.
yeah,
Like
so
they're
that'll
looking
rally
they're
a
looking
certain viewership,
for
right?
archetypes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I definitely agree. They look for archetypes. And they hire them based on that.
right.
But I don't think they're like, okay, I need this person to act like a bitch. Also,
Okay,
no.
okay, that's
they're
fair.
gonna typecast people and be like, this girl seems like a bitch,
Right.
and they're gonna egg them on probably.
And they
like,
probably edit it down to represent that to where possible, right? Like
Exactly,
the bitch
yeah.
character may have 10 nice moments, but they only show one. You know.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna watch that. Because I wanted to watch it anyway, and you've done me a beautiful favor, which is remove my guilt about watching this because you were the first one to watch it out of the men that I know. So I'm gonna watch it
honestly,
now. Really?
Honestly,
Okay.
I think that this is gonna be all over Facebook and all my friends.
Oh man, it's awesome.
And
Embrace it.
My dad's gonna like private message me and be like, "Son,
Well, hey.
you're not my son anymore."
Well, hey, look at it this way, bro. We're an hour and 5 minutes in. He probably ain't getting this far, man. That's
true.
You should be
He'll
safe.
be asleep.
Yeah, you should be safe. I have way too much shit. Like I literally had like 6 other specific games I wanted to ask you about, but I just want to run a couple last points by, and we'll call it there. Looks like we have enough for a second episode together, which would be episode 4 of the Wasted Years, based on just my notes, and who knows what else will be added. So let's not overextend ourselves here, which is my preference to do. But I really did want to mention two things that I have watched recently because they relate to gaming in some way. So I watched 2017 film called Life. Don't know if you heard about this. This is like a space movie where they find an amoeba on Mars and they want to study it, and it turns out to grow into a rather large problem for this crew. And it's got Jake Gyllenhaal, it's got Ryan Reynolds, it's got some others. Interesting
2017?
movie. 2017, I think. 2017 movie just called Life. Like it's a one-word title. Life.
I've never seen it, but then again, I didn't see the one with Matt McConaughey either. Interstellar.
Oh my god, you haven't seen Interstellar, bro?
I have not seen
Oh my god,
Interstellar.
okay. You watch Interstellar and you come back to this podcast and then you tell me about what you think. Please. Like by episode 5, that's like 2 more episodes away. How about that? You watch Interstellar and you come back and you tell me it's shit or you tell me it's amazing, and we'll have a chat. You have
to convince Trish to watch it with me. I don't want to watch it on my own.
Okay.
I hate to interrupt, but there's the movie on Netflix called Okja.
Okay.
And I really want to watch it. And I know Eric's seen it, and he's like, "Oh man, this is like a tearjerker."
Okay.
And it's a really good movie. I think it's made by one of his favorite Chinese or Japanese video makers. It looks really good to me.
Right.
And I want to watch it, but Trish is like, "I don't want to cry." So I don't want to.
So you're locked in.
She doesn't want to watch it, but I'm locked into wanting to see it. But I don't want to watch it alone or without her.
Right. So you kind of have to massage it and try to get her in on it, on board.
Mixer stream. We're gonna have an Okja watch party.
I wonder would you get banned for that? I don't know.
It's copyright infringement.
Right.
So I don't know if I'd get banned, but they'd probably be like, "You can't do that."
Right.
It's like you're not supposed to play Drake.
Right. Yeah, at the start of my thing, which I won't do on this episode. I will just not do that. I'll find some royalty-free tunes at one point or ask you to make a tune or something like that. So Life, it's basically like, if I can simplify it, it's basically Alien. Like, it's basically Alien, but kind of done in a different way. What's that, sorry?
Less horror?
It tries to be horror, but I think it achieves more of a thriller at the end. And so I wasn't scared watching it. I was scared in anticipation, but then it faded away when I realized what kind of movie it would be. It's really cool though.
Is it on Netflix by any chance?
It is, yeah. Yes, it's on I think it's on Netflix. I think so. I think that's where we watch it. It's either that or it was on Crave, but I think Netflix. And it was good. It was a good use of time. I enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it thoroughly. But I will say this: it is, in a sense, alien. Like, we've been here before. We've seen this movie before, and it got me wondering. Like, it made me actually think, oh, I should really play Alien Isolation. That game's cool. That game is like this movie. Interesting, And then I watched another movie a couple weeks back, which I mentioned on Party Chat. It's called Last Breath. It was about a diver, like a real life diver scenario where he's like should have died and didn't. And that actually ended up making me buy Subnautica, which was on sale. And I'm not an underwater guy. I hate underwater, and I like, why am I buying Subnautica? But I kind of got like, I'm kind of impressionable with that shit. So I want to know, are you like that too? Where you see something or you engage something in another medium, be it film, a book, whatever it is, and then you want to sort of explore that space in another medium, like games or film or whatever. Do you get that way?
Definitely.
Okay, so
probably the most memorable one is from years ago, but back when I first started playing Call of Duty, I was also big into paintball, and me and Elusive Man would go to Ontario and we'd go paintballing and spend like hours paintballing.
And that was generated from your love of COD, you think?
Yeah, and I don't know why, but like you'd slide behind the things and shooting people. Like, man, we need to go home. Once we get home, showering, and we're gonna play some fucking Call of Duty.
Oh fuck, man!
It was like playing real life. For me, it was like, man, Call of Duty was like real life. I know it was paintball, but it's still
right.
A completely different example than yours.
No, but it's exactly what I'm talking about. Where it's like, oh man, I really should engage with this in a different way. Yeah, like again, you kind of get your jimmies rustled, to use the term again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. I wanted to talk about the GameStop effort to change itself. I'm gonna save that for another episode. We can, and I have some games I want to talk to you about later. We can save that for another episode as well. I wanted to ask you about Outer Wilds. I wanted to ask you about Dreams, how that's going on PS4. I wanted to ask you about Bloodstained, right? Bloodstained, is that the game? Bloodstained?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bloodstained.
How many times can I say Bloodstained? Okay, sorry. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Thank you. Yeah, you've been playing that, but maybe not as much lately. Probably just due to other things, but
just due to life and returning to work.
So not a bad game. Not a bad game.
Bloodstained Ritual.
Yeah, sorry.
Not a bad game at all.
Okay.
How deep do you want me to go into it? Or
Sure. Yeah, no. Why not go into this one and then we'll call it there. Talk to me about Bloodstained.
Okay, so Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Yeah.
Some people think it's a sequel. I don't think it is. The original game, Bloodstained, was like a pixelated.
Oh yeah, it's like 8-bitter, right?
8-bit game, because he was trying to do a proof of concept. If I'm not mistaken, it's made by the same guy who made the original Castlevania.
Right.
And he was trying to bring back the
that vibe, like the Vania-ism, right?
Yeah, the Castlevania vibe into a new generation.
Right.
So obviously it falls under the class of a Metroidvania.
Right. Because it's inspired by that. Like, or...
That's right. I didn't know much about the game. I saw some reviews, and then maybe a month after it released or whatever, I watched a quick video on it. I'm like, man, I want to play something different. I want something. So I got it.
Right.
And I didn't know what to expect. I love the art style. I love the music. I love a lot of its mechanics and systems. It has like almost like a Monster Hunter. I mean, I can't remember the original Castlevania as if they had a crafting system, really.
I don't think. I want to say no.
I'm sure they didn't.
Maybe they had a Mega Man system where it's like you kill a boss and get his shit or something. Yeah.
Well, in this, I can't remember the exact number. I think it's like 182 different demons in the game, and that's just enemy types. Okay,
that's a lot.
When you kill an enemy, it drops loot, like a Diablo game.
Right.
And it has the RNG of what kind of loot it drops. Does it drop higher level crafting materials or lower level?
Okay. Also,
there's a chance that it drops its shard. I think it's a blood shard, if I'm not mistaken.
And what is that? The blood shard?
It's their it's like a fragment of their soul kind of thing.
Okay.
And you absorb it. And you absorb it, and it gives you a power, either a new power or a new buff or whatever. Like a new buff as in like a passive. It'll give you a passive, a new ability to get a new type of ability to traverse the map, like a Metroidvania,
Right.
like any kind of Metroid game, right? Or a Mega Man. Oh, I can't go there yet because I need to have the air dash boots.
Right, exactly, yeah. Like, it'll be just
so
out
it'll
of
give
reach
you-
until then.
That's right. It'll give you those types of things, or like kind of cool projectiles. You can get like pets through these things, like a summon that follows you around that does different things.
Right.
And then as you kill these guys, you can farm them because then you can get more shards again, the same shards, and it actually levels up that shard.
Oh, it levels up that. Okay.
Yeah. And it drops crafting materials and stuff, which you can build armor and gear and weapons with.
Okay. Is there anything lost on death? Is this like does it have a souls aspect or no to it? I don't know that it does. I'm just asking out of nowhere here.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I noticed. The only thing I know is that they say like the way the story's set up and the character set up is that you are this type of, I forget what you are, but you're like some sort of, I almost want to say you're like a what's his name from Devil May Cry? He's
Dante.
Like yeah, but what
Virgil?
is he?
Oh, he's
Nephilim.
Nephilim, like a Diablo, right?
He's like half
Demon,
angel,
half
demon.
human, right?
I kind of feel like it's a situation like that. You're kind of like a demon human like mix kind of thing. And what happens is when you're absorbing these shards, they're saying you're becoming corrupted. And I think this is how you get like I've heard that there's multiple endings in the game, so you can beat it without absorbing these shards.
Okay,
kind of thing. But it seems like the more shards you have, you get more corrupt. So I'm assuming what would give you like an evil ending,
right?
Which is really interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
So meanwhile, I'm like playing through it, Monster Hunter Craft, and I'm like, man, I want my freaking 3-shot
right,
arrow.
Like the Monster Hunter greed is like manifesting in you.
I don't fucking care about this story. I just want to fucking. But no, I'm really enjoying the gameplay, the sound, those little mechanics.
Cool.
The one gripe I have, and it's a pretty big one.
Okay.
Is the controls.
Oh, really? For a Vania game? Wow, that's surprising.
It's a Metroidvania game in 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's trying to bring back that nostalgia feel, but the controls are way too nostalgic. It feels like I'm playing a Nintendo game on a Nintendo controller.
Oh, Jesus.
They're not super responsive. If they're not super responsive, there's weird button presses on weird things. Like, just an example, I have to press B to backstep.
What? Really?
But to backstep, it depends on the direction you're facing. Right. In the middle of a fight, if you're facing the wrong way, you backstep into an enemy.
Oh,
it's just like it's weird. Like too many button presses for. It doesn't feel.
It
modern
doesn't
at all
let you be
that
fluid
sense.
In that way, right? Like, you can't make a fluid play unless you're like really locked in, right?
Yeah, it's not. I would say it's not. I would go as far to say it's not fluid at all.
Huh.
But it does feel nice otherwise.
Interesting.
And I like the combat and stuff, but it takes a little getting used to.
Now, did you get the sense that perhaps maybe like it's almost as if they use the same movement system from their 8-bit game? Is like, did you get that sense?
Yes, Andy? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder.
I definitely think it's that, and like I said, it feels unnecessarily ancient.
Right, right.
They should have modernized the controllers. I think it would have done much better for it.
Right, which is interesting too, because Bloodstained itself does it not have like an anime modern look to it, ish? Am I wrong?
Anime?
Or I don't know if it has an anime look, but what kind of look do you say? Does it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a vibrant anime.
Right, which is kind of in contrast to this 8-bit control scheme, right? In some ways.
Sure. Yeah, it's just like I said, they're not terrible. You do get used to them, but even when you get used to them, they're still kind of like I said, they're not the most responsive. It's not like you can. I'm trying to think. It's not like obviously it's an entirely different game. But it's not like Sekiro where you can run around, slice some people, and grapple away and clamber on the side of the edge, and it feels like you're doing it effortlessly.
Right. This is much more deliberate than that. Right.
This is like feels very clunky.
Right.
And whether or not that's their design choice, like, I want it to feel like the original Castlevania, and they did that, or if it was just bad design choice. Even if they meant to do it, I think it's a bad design choice.
Right.
Personally.
There's a bad decision because nobody wants that, right?
Because in comparison, like in stark contrast, you have Metroidvania, like modern Metroidvania games, like the two of the best, I would say, Ori and the Blind Forest and Hollow Knight.
Right.
And both those games control fantastically.
Especially in comparison to this, right? Like probably blows it away.
Yeah. if I were to go play Hollow Knight like immediately and then play Bloodstained Ritual after, I'd be like, man, why am I wasting my time?
Oh, damn.
But otherwise, it's a really cool game, and
Okay.
I do suggest it.
Okay, one last question, and we'll wrap this up completely. Just to kind of get in your mind again, because I kind of enjoy doing that. You say the controls are rough. Obviously, you've described that pretty well. Do you think that it's, or sorry, let me say it this way: are you the type of gamer where, given the circumstance, given your situation on a given day or night, are you the type of gamer where you're like, I am not gonna play this because the controls piss me off tonight? Like, you would have played it if the controls are better, or are you the type of person that just guts through that anyways?
I would gut through it anyways.
Okay. So you wouldn't let that factor into your playtime decision?
No, because I think it's a bad design choice. Like I said, even if they did it on purpose, bad design choice.
Right.
But they're not inherently bad necessarily. They just don't feel very modern. They're very ancient feeling.
Okay.
But they're not broken. Like, they're not like, it doesn't necessarily ruin my experience. I just wish it was much more fluid. It would be more fun if it was.
Right. It doesn't bankrupt the game, though.
It definitely does not bankrupt the game.
Okay.
And I'm like a guy who plays 700 hours of Monster Hunter.
Right.
Dark Souls 3. And like, these are games that are notoriously
like clunk shows.
And those are not because they can't do smooth. Like, they designed it to be clunky because they want the weight to be the combat to be weighted, right? Well, Dark Souls anyway.
Right.
I can't say Monster Hunter, I don't know, but I don't really have experience with the past games so much.
Right.
It is supposed to be like a weighted system as well.
Definitely. So this is a weighted system in a 2D plane, kind of, right?
This is like definitely a weighted system because you can equip great swords, two-handed great swords, and it actually slows down all your attacks. On top of you need to press B to backstep, which is very important, but you face the wrong way.
Like, frustrating at times. That sounds interesting in theory, though.
It's like I said, I love the game, and the controls aren't terrible. Like, I don't think it will turn people off of the game necessarily, but they feel, I know I'm repeating myself, but they just feel way too fucking old.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you. I think we'll call it there. It's an hour 21, so if you're still with us here, whatever day or night you're listening to this, thank you so much. This has been the Wasted Years episode 3. I got to come up with a clever title, but we got Big Time in the house. My boy Sean Proulx dropping the great knowledge. We had a blast, I think. Personally, I know I did. I have a blast talking about things I didn't even expect. We went way off the notes at times, and I love that. So, Love Island.
I do not watch Love Island. That never happened.
I'm all about Love Island. Like, I'm just going to go and watch it like right now. Hey, where are you watching that actually, by the way?
It was on CTV.
Oh, okay, so you're watching on network television. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's done now, but like they were doing like what they would do. Like there was an episode because it ran for like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Every night at the same time was an episode. Except for the weekend.
So it was like an event thing, like a mini series almost or something.
Yeah, but I think they're signed for another season.
Cool.
But either way, because Love Island is popular in the UK, it's not like a new show.
Right. We're just getting it over here now, right?
And anyway, yeah, like there was an episode every night, and then on the weekends. They have like a marathon of like all the week's episodes, like back to back.
Right.
That's how I got into it. I'm like, oh, I was on paternity and we recorded it randomly record all 4 episodes and see what we think.
Cool.
And I watched all 4 back to back in one day. And I'm like, oh man, I'm hooked. I need to watch this.
Oh, I love when a show does that, man. Even if it's the unexpected ones like Love Island. Do you want to get one last plug in here for your stuff, man? I want to make sure you get out there. Hit the listeners with your details and we'll sign off.
You can find me at 92 36th Avenue. I'll be the naked guy on the street corner.
Oh, damn. How am I supposed to get a pizza to you? I don't know if they deliver on street corners.
Oh, I have experience in that department, and we sometimes do.
Okay, thank you. Yes, former pizza master. Go ahead.
Excuse me, sorry about the cough.
No,
so on Mixer, you can follow me at mixer.com/TSG_BigTime. On Twitter, it's at BigTimeTSG. On YouTube, I'm pretty sure my channel is just BigTime.
Perfect.
But yeah,
Perfect.
those are the only important ones.
Perfect.
So
Thank you, man.
thanks for having me.
I want you guys to raid the shit out of his social media and tell him to play Amnesia on stream within like the next week. I want every listener to just literally go to his Twitter and just say Amnesia. That's it. Just fucking do that, and let's get a groundswell going. Because I will have so much fun watching that. So just do it selfishly for me, and we're good. Okay, that's been the Wasted Years, episode 3, my boy. TSG Big Time. We're making sure that you don't waste your life away playing the things you want to play, watching the things you want to watch. Don't worry, it's all worth it. Take care, guys. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.